This program is sponsored in part by the National Catholic Society of Foresters. Hello again and welcome to Looking at Social Justice. I'm Jim Grant and I'm the blessed host of a series that we're doing in which we bring in people from the community, usually single but sometimes a pair, sharing about something in social justice that we think deserves a bigger platform, more chance to be known by the community, and giving it almost a launching pad for people to buy in and become committed with them on their project. So our two guests today come to us from Faith in the Valley. This is our local PICO affiliate in which people are working on a faith-based commitment to social reform here in the Valley. My guest to my right is Marcel Woodruff, and to my opposite end over here, Aaron Foster. We're so glad that both Marcel and Aaron are going to be telling us not only about themselves first and then Faith in the Valley, but our topic today, our special interest, is Advanced Peace, a program that we are proposing out of Faith in the Valley to bring a sense of gun violence reduction or elimination here, especially in the city of Fresno. So let's begin with Marcel. Marcel, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll add a few details that I really find super interesting. Begin though, tell us a little bit about Marcel Woodruff.
All right, how you doing? My name is Marcel Woodruff. I'm a native of Fresno, California, born and raised here. I'm a husband. I have a wife named Jelana, who's 14 years, and 3 children, Judah, Zaire, and Josiah. So I was raised in Fresno, lived all my life. Left for a little bit of time, went to New Orleans, Louisiana, where I got a degree in computer science. Came back and went to serve
at Xavier
University in New Orleans. Graduated, came back before the plan even landed. I was at the altar getting married. So as soon as I came back, I got married, and since then I've been serving my community, primarily in West Fresno with my demographic, just trying to make the quality of life better for young people around here.
But you also went back to school for an MDiv degree at Fresno Pacific, but a very peculiar or particular version of an MDiv. Tell us about it.
Definitely. So when I go to Xavier, I didn't know I was a computer science major. They said, hey, go here. I'm like, why am I going here? Well, you checked the box and you applied. They said you want to be a computer science major. I was just 18 applying. I didn't know what I was doing. So about my senior year at Xavier, I wish that I had done theology. I got really interested in theology. I was like, man, if I can go back in time, I would have done theology. So I finished the computer science degree. I come back to Fresno, and I have a buddy of mine named Bryson White who was going to Fuller Theological Seminary. Oh, yeah. And so he says, I'm going to Fuller. I'm like, I can't let you beat me, so I'm going to seminary too.
Oh,
so I go to the local seminary, Fresno Pacific Biblical Seminary. Formerly, it was Mennonite Brethren Biblical Seminary before Fresno Pacific bought it out. And I did an MDiv degree, but my MDiv degree was different. Normally, like when you do an MDiv or a Master's of Divinity, you go toward like being a pastor or something like faith leader. And for me, I was like the joke because I wanted to do urban theology. I wanted to figure out a way that faith connected to the concrete and to the streets, and I wanted to work that out in my time. And so that's what I did. I had an MDiv focused on urban theology.
This is such a great beginning for the show, but also for Faith in the Valley, because when you joined the team, the wonderful group of community organizers, it was such a strength that you bring to this team. But Aaron, tell us about yourself and how it is that your life has also been the perfect preparation for what you're doing with Faith in the Valley. So introduce us to Aaron Foster.
I'm Aaron Foster. My story is the total opposite.
Exactly.
The total opposite of Marcel. So I'm a former gang member. Well, still gang member, still affiliated with my neighborhood, but not active. I don't commit crimes to benefit a gang anymore. I do the total opposite. I try to give us a different perspective of life. So I started out as a young man. I believe I joined the gang when I was 12 years old. I lived in Compton, but I've been in Fresno my entire life. Every summer of my life I was in Fresno. My parents are from Fresno. So I started out on the wrong track, did all the gang banging that I could do. Moved back to Fresno when I was 16, had my stint. I started making a change about, I said when I was about 30. So in my 40, when I was 41, my son got killed. My son got killed. He was a gang member.
Aye.
Yeah, so he was 21, he got killed. 4 years after he got killed, my daughter got killed.
Oh, Aaron.
Yeah, they both got killed this month, Labor Day weekend. They both died the same day, the same way, 4 years apart. So when my son got killed, I started trying to develop change in our community. But I was still like bowleg. I had 1 foot in the street, 1 foot into changing. But when my daughter died, I just gave it all in. Like, okay, something has to change. So I started going to the most active, being a gang member, I knew the most active shooters. So I started reaching out to the most active shooters, asking them who wanted to be next to bury a child. As a result of that, we went 45 days in Southwest Fresno without 1 gunshot, period. What broke that ceasefire was a robbery gone bad. It wasn't gang related. But today, working with the police department, which have done a great job of producing a 53% decrease in gun violence. It wouldn't happen without Fresno PD. It wouldn't happen without the community help. So in conjunction with the two, these are the results. So I'm proud to see the fruits of the labor in such a short time.
You are amazing, and this Faith in the Valley team that morphs a little. We've had different people in it. They've moved to Denver, some of them.
Right.
They have other things to do, but then those that come and become replacement, new members, you're awesome. So tell us, before we get into Advanced Peace, which is our topic, something more about Faith in the Valley, because it's very important, I think, that our viewers, our listeners, get an idea of this wonderful commitment of a staff of people that form a cluster of clergy that take on certain campaigns. Tell us about that. Marcel, start us off, and then Aaron, something about Faith in the Valley.
Man, so what is our, you remember the credential, man? What is the credential? How many congregations?
Base leader of, 46 congregations, 2, I don't know, it was one, but those numbers have dropped because we wanted to have more realistic output, and we wanted to have real relationships with congregations. We didn't want to just have numbers. We wanted to have relationships. So we're developing new ones, but I think we have probably a realistic like 13 or 20 between there.
Yeah.
Congregations that we work with currently.
Yeah. Definitely. You mentioned Faith in the Valley kind of evolving as replacements happen. So at Faith in the Valley is an organization, of community organizing, where we work with the congregations and faith-based institutions to actually put their faith into practice. Right? Practice. How does your faith act? But with me and Aaron, our background is we love our community, we love the streets, and we love to be with our people. And so a lot of our role there is how do we also organize people on the ground, people who are experiencing the pain, who are the closest to the pain, and build bridges between them and the congregation so that we all can act together and move things forward together to build power and to build change.
So now, one big change that we want to talk about, and we've got about 19 minutes. Why don't we do the overview of what is Advanced Peace? Tell us a little bit about the whole concept, the theory, the praxis. Tell us about Devon Boggan. Tell us about what he started, and then maybe where it's been planted, and then what we're going to do in Fresno about it. So where would you like to start introducing us to the concept of Advanced Peace?
Well, Advanced Peace is a theory of change that's been successful. It started in Richmond, California, back when Richmond was the 10th most violent place to live in the nation. He started out, from what I'm told, he started out not knowing what to do. Got with the police department, they figured out who the active shooters were, got them out of the database. They went to the community to make sure that was accurate, grabbed those 50 people and started working with them to have change. So what it is with Advanced Peace is, it's just not going to grab 50 people and saying, change. These 50 people have to see somebody 3 times a day, 3 different touches a day, to make sure that they're on track. The first person helps them with the life map. You get a life map to every individual, it's different, so that person gets to pick out what his future looks like. So if this guy wants to be a doctor, they help him get into med school. Not only do they help him get into med school, they take him to school every day, pick him up. Those are the first 2 touches. Then they make sure that they stay grounded by not going astray with the 3rd touch. You know, a check-in later on to see how your day is going. So it comes with like a team of people that counsel you and usher you through your life map. If you want to be a truck driver, the same thing. So it gives you the option to change, and it almost holds your hand because you're so far away from what normal is to normal people that it brings you to the center to help you move, and it's a 3-year program, so you have 18 months. So people have the misconception that this program pays gang members not to gangbang, but that's not what it is. Everyone in the program has to be in this program 7 months before you're even eligible for a stipend. So you have to have like a 6-month orientation to show that you're really serious about making the change. So you have to prove yourself to receive funds.
So that began in Richmond, and the basic overview you gave us is how it's basically, that's the format.
Yeah, the format.
What happened after it was very successful in Richmond? It seems to have been shared in other very violent communities across the state. Where did it move to after Richmond?
Stockton, Sacramento, Oakland. Stockton saw a 40% decrease in gun violence within the first 6 months.
Yeah, I think so the founder, Devon Bogan, who formerly worked with the city as well as like the neighborhood safety commissioner in Richmond. After the program was successful in Richmond, philanthropy approached him and said, "Hey, does this model work in other places and in other ways?" And so they began to explore what is it like in New York and in Memphis, or even overseas. Like we have like a lot of stabbings, like in some of your European areas. Like, hey, does it work there? So they approached Devon and said, "How do we expand this model and see if it works in multiple places?"
Oh my!
And so as that model began to get rolled out, conversations around where can it go in other cities and other locations happened. And so they planned to do it in 6 cities, right, across
6 cities and in Manchester.
in England. Yeah.
In England?
Yeah.
Oh, after the soccer matches, for sure.
Exactly. And so I think they were able to identify their 6 cities, but that's how Fresno got on Devon's radar through Aaron. And he said, "Hey, I think we want this to be good in Fresno."
Yeah, I think I really bugged him. I made the trip to Richmond when I heard about it. I took that his model and started implementing it here. That's what happened when you talk to the shooters directly. That's an advanced peace model, and it's effective in Southwest Fresno so far.
Yeah.
So you are let's give credit, you were the one that really bugged Devon to come to Fresno. I got to hear him. He was amazing with the presentation of his efforts. Then where is it standing now? It's in these other valley cities. Would the success be basically your reason for pushing that the city of Fresno follow the lead of these other similar cities to Fresno, when you've got Richmond and Stockton and Oakland and Sacramento being successes, right? We've got a track record of this thing works. With that idea, tell us more about your efforts with the city to make this a serious proposal. So how is it moving here in Fresno, guys?
It's looking pretty good. We have we talked to the council member of District 3. He supports it. Our chief speaks good of it. They're trying to find funding, and even our mayor says he couldn't make any promises, but he'll try to find some room in the budget for it. So it's looking good. It's nothing set in stone, but we're trying. We're making efforts to make it happen. I'm really impressed and appreciate what the chief is doing.
obviously Chief Dyer needs to support it or it will fall down, but he is in October stepping down himself. So where is the hope for continuity of the commitment, and what commitment do we need more than I like the idea compared to we will fund this program? And now can you get us some details, Marcel, maybe something about the financing that it demands, but also the great savings that it creates, because it's actually a very inexpensive program once you see the success. So Marcel, introduce us to the finances of this.
Right. I think the lure of advanced pieces, Devon promises a 50% reduction in shootings and violent crime, right? And so the buy-in for that is it requires $600,000 a year. So Advanced Peace through philanthropy, they bring in $300,000, and they require the city of Fresno to supply the other $300,000, and that $300,000 goes toward like just city expenses, right? City personnel, city staffing, and so on and so forth. Not toward the actual members of the cohort. But they also require a 5-year commitment, because you know what happens is you get this is it's sensitive, right? You get people getting nervous. So we start this cohort and such happened, and some gunfire erupted, and so everybody throws their hands up and say we quit. So they want a 5-year commitment because the program is proven, it works, and it saves money over time. Because I think that what a murder costs, $1 million, and I think shootings cost $500,000 just in terms of like man hours and manpower to actually follow the course. So the thing pays for itself over time. I mean, just in 1 year, right? And so the big issue right now is the city is saying we can't commit to 5 years. That's not how we do budgets. And so it's around getting past that obstacle to say, you know, this is, and if you pay for this thing up front in 1 year, it pays for itself, you know, for 5 years and just that 1 year of saving lives, right? And so so fiscally, it's just about $300,000 buy-in from the city over 5 years, which is $1.5 million. Which was one council member said was a drop in the bucket, right? So it's a drop in the bucket to save how many lives? It's a no-brainer.
You do mention District 3, one council member. Do you want to give us some names of, let's say, the supporters and the mayor, and where? Let's throw names out here so we can follow this story. The next time we do an interview, we want to find out, and how did this all happen? How did the vote go? And are they going to fund this thing? So who are these supporters of the effort?
Well, Miguel Arias, he is a champion of it. But I've only spoken with Nelson. And Nelson, he didn't champion it, but he didn't say no.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said he liked the discount, and he felt like the number was a drop in the bucket.
Okay.
And to add to that, it's $1.5 million, which turns into $300,000 a year. And with me losing 2 children, my question is, how much does a life cost? We know we're going to save at least one. If we only save one life a year, is that life worth $300,000? Last year we eight less. So the year before we had 15 people killed. Last year we only had 7. This is without funding. This is Southwest Fresno. That Southwest Fresno was one of the most violent places, the most dangerous places to live in Fresno. Now, it's one of the safest places to live. Yeah. We have outbreaks everywhere. But I think we've had, unfortunately, we had 2 murders this year, and they just happened. But before now, you know, nothing is foolproof. We're going to have outbreaks until we eradicate this problem. But as we stand, we're still doing a good job of decreasing it.
What is it that you would hope with this platform of having a program, viewers, listeners, what do you want us to do? How do we get involved in supporting Advanced Peace? And practically, how do we get involved with Faith in the Valley? What can we do?
Well, I think that we can send letters to the mayor, phone calls to the mayor, asking him to make this part of the budget would be a big thing.
And talking to city council as well to champion that, getting part of the budget, and even creating a narrative that gun violence is not just a one region problem. It's a Fresno problem, right?
Yeah.
This is all of our issues, all of our problems, this is all of our children. So collectively as a city, we have to come together and talk to the mayor, talk to our decision makers, and say we want this because we want our city to be safer, and this program works.
Yeah, we just had 3 murders closer to Shaw than we've ever had. 3 murders within 3 months. The father and the mother just got killed with assault rifles on Ashland and Fruit. Before then, we had a murder on Shaw and Marks, not even 2 months ago. Huh?
Yeah.
So this thing is not concentrated. So now that we have a decrease in the most violent part of the city, it's increasing everywhere else, and it's getting closer to home. So if we bring this program, we can reduce that, if not eliminate it.
Yeah, definitely. Because the old strategy has been like contain and detain, but that just creates displacement and sprawl, right? So that doesn't work. It doesn't reduce. So we need programs like this to actually reduce it overall.
The idea of being in touch with the mayor and the council members over the budget, now that's going to be a dated issue. What's the date? People will be watching this, hearing this program. By when do we need to make this happen? What's the deadline for, that's when they're going to vote, and that's when they're going to seal the deal?
I think the budget is in June, isn't it?
Yeah. So the mayor will present his budget this probably next week, like toward the end of May, and in June it has to be finalized as the councilman speaks. So we need this as a budget item by June. We need it moving forward, and we need it to happen.
So there's an immediacy,
Right.
at least for this year.
Yeah.
Now, being honest, if it turns out that the deadline passes, there's not enough commitment of those that could make it happen for this year, obviously you're not letting this go as if, I didn't make the cut.
Yeah. It needs to happen this year. So the mayor of Stockton, he actually rose his own funds. So he actually went out there and did his own fundraising, and so that they can get an advanced piece in Stockton. So if it doesn't make it this year budget, then we need to find money for it.
Let's look at that alternative. Marcel, tell us, short of having the appropriate commitment of the city, which would be the appropriate 300,000 times 5 years. It's all you're asking, and you're going to get this payback of so many less homicides. Right. Okay, so if that doesn't happen by the date of the budget being approved, what do we do next? Where do we get that other 300,000 times 5?
Yeah, the mayor, the council, police department, probation, they need to find the money. Other cities have done that, and they can do it. So we need to talk to them about find this money to make this happen.
Yeah, I think that it would be a bigger sense of urgency if we felt like our lives depended on it. That was the thing. Even when speaking with the mayor told me when I lost my daughter, the city lost a daughter. So if the city feels that way, then how much would you pay to prevent your daughter from being killed? And the thing with my daughter, she was innocent, absolutely, 2 weeks away from graduating.
Oh my God.
She never had a fight in her life, was born with a bad heart. Only thing she ever did was fight for her life. So she did everything right. She got a driver's license, gave a guy a ride home. Never knew how, in this culture that we live in, we unfortunately teach our children to always be on the passenger side of the car. In case someone comes by shooting, you can use this car for shelter. With this sheltered child, she didn't know. She was in the back of the car. And when they started shooting, usually, my instinct, people lay down. She turned to run. And when she turned to run,
Oh my God.
one bullet shot her in the back of the head and killed her. As soon as the bullet hit her, she was dead. So with this sense of urgency, saying that it doesn't happen only to gang members. Innocent people get killed. 2 innocent people got killed, one funeral yesterday, another funeral Friday. Parents of 3 children, both of them got killed. Things happen. What can we do to prevent this? Now, we can't save everything today, but we can start working on saving it.
When you said that the mayor said exactly the right thing, when you said, I lost my daughter, the city lost a daughter. It's like that would be the appropriate response. Do you see that goodness of making the right verbiage is something we can hope that you got to fund it, Lee Brand. You got to do something about it.
Well, to his defense, you can see it in his eyes that he was very sincere, and he didn't say no. I think that he's trying to find it. He just have to, because you know he's the mayor. He's being pulled by everybody in the entire city. He has a lot on his plate. So I don't want to make him seem like a demon.
No, you're not.
I want to say sincerely, I believe that he's doing everything in his power, and he's going to make it happen. But I can't say it because he didn't say it. So my heart wants to believe that he's trying.
Exactly. It's good to have a sense that I think this is going to happen. There's goodwill on certain of the council members. What more, Marcel, would you, in the last minute, urge our viewers, listeners to do? Remind us what we could do and got to do. We got to do something.
We have to make the lives of our community members a priority. I think that right now what we're hearing is it's a good idea, it's a good thing, but should it be a priority in terms of like what the city is doing, how the city is moving? And as a city, we need to come together and say, no, this is a priority. We want a safe city, a healthy city. We want people to be alive, and we want our children to be alive. And so speak to your councilmen, speak to your mayor, speak to all these institutions and say, no, we want to prioritize and advance peace.
What I'm going to say, do you have 30 seconds, Aaron, a final plea? Your pleas have been so urgent. Tell us one last pitch.
Last pitch is, think of that baby that you look at every day, the one that makes you smile every time you think of him. Then think about how you would feel if you had to make funeral arrangements for this special child. And with that being said, this is our reality, and something has to change.
One thing that's going to change that I'm going to say the diocese is going to do, we need to form, and we will, a victims support ministry. Other dioceses have it, and for these people that have had to go through these horrific homicides, we will find out because of you who they are and how we could be able to offer some love at their loss. But we're also going to commit to causes like advanced peace so that we don't need to do that. Thank you, guys. Awesome show. Can't wait to do it again. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you.